Welcome to After the Coffee. It is hump day. Yes, it's Wednesday. We're halfway through our week. I hope the beginning of your week has been productive as you look into sliding into your weekend and having some more personal R&R. Now, on Monday Morning Cup of Joe, I introduced the topic for today, and it is the fear of the apology. Now, psychologists refer to this as xenophobia. And xenophobia actually is more characterized with maybe someone who suffers from obsessive compulsive behavior, where they will constantly apologize even for the most minor or trivial mistakes. And that's got to be very difficult to have to deal with. But in this case, in the context of leadership, we're talking about a different type of phobia when it comes to apologies. Some leaders have a phobia of apologizing to an individual or to their team when something doesn't go right. Now, there's a lot of reasons for this, and I'll list those in a minute. But I want to tell you now, as a leader, that when you can offer a sincere apology to an individual on your team or to your team in general, it doesn't cause you to lose face. It actually creates respect from the people on the team when they see that you can apologize and be sincere and be genuine about your apology. They think, wow, that creates trust. So how do we turn, a failure into an opportunity for learning, for exhibiting a behavior as a leader that, what, we make mistakes, we acknowledge them, and we apologize. That's a big deal. So here are some reasons for why some leaders cannot make an apology. Number one, pride and ego. That we feel that if we're fallible, then maybe we're not qualified to be a leader. And this reflects on our own ego, but also our self-esteem, our self-image. But the reality is that we make mistakes. As a matter of fact, even if my team makes a mistake, I take responsibility for it. I should have either told them something, maybe I wasn't clear enough in instructions that I gave them, but I take responsibility for their mistakes, especially in a public situation. I'll say, you know what, you guys, this is not the team's fault, it's my fault. And then I can go back with my team and sit down, and we can talk about what happened and how we can avoid it from happening again in the future. Okay, so number two, fear of consequences. We fear that we will lose something that stands as a consequence. And certainly failures, well, they evoke that concern that maybe people won't see us as being qualified. But it's more important for them to see us as being human. And when we can take responsibility for our actions, then our people are more likely to take responsibility for their actions. You see how that works? Okay, now let's talk about number three, a lack of empathy. We may not even see a need to apologize. Hey, it's not my problem. If you got a problem with it, that's your problem. Manage your emotions better. Well, that's certainly not emotional intelligence at work. We need not be concerned about the fact that we do have empathy as leaders, and we have to express empathy. Hey guys, I'm really sorry about this. This is what happened. I hope that you're with me on this and we can move forward. Right? Number four, sometimes we use it to skirt accountability. This is really a bad habit to be in, because then it gives people on our team the permission to skirt accountability and to ignore the fact that a mistake was made. Look, if it's a serious mistake, then we have to kind of own up to it. It's important. It's an element of our integrity. So when a mistake's made, we own up to it. My bad. Of course, we don't want to, you know, blow it off like it was no big deal. If it was a big deal, then we've got to talk about that. But I'll be a little more detail on that one when we finish our list of the top 10. And number 5 is insecurity. If we are so insecure in ourselves and who we are as a leader, then we may not or we may avoid apologies simply due to that insecurity. Now, number 6, we may lack the communication skills necessary to be able to apologize in an appropriate manner. And there is a 3-step process to this that I'll share at the end of the video. But a lack of good communication skills can cause us to not address an apology when it's owed simply because we don't know how to do it. Now, number 7, past trauma. We may have made big mistakes in the past, and this one, what we feel could be the straw that breaks the camel's back. Nevertheless, it's important for us to take ownership and responsibility for the mistakes we made, especially when they inconvenience another person or our team. So it's very important, regardless of our past history, that we get the intestinal fortitude to admit our mistakes. Okay, now, number 8, cultural or gender norms. We might be thinking, well, in our culture, it's suicide to admit to making a mistake and having to apologize for it, at least from a career standpoint. If that's the culture, it's a toxic one, and it's one you're best probably not to be in. And then gender wise, a man never apologizes. We don't make mistakes. Or a female who's a leader in any kind of environment to admit to making a mistake, they think it's a gender thing, but it's not. As a matter of fact, it's a strength. Those leaders, male or female, who are willing to stand up and say, I made a mistake, I apologize. Let's talk about what can be done to make it better. That's what people are looking for. Now, number 9, an emotional barrier. Some of us do, maybe based on our upbringing or experiences that we've had in life. We have this emotional barrier that has us not just be able to apologize. And sometimes the biggest challenge is when the stakes are at the highest in that most important relationship, whether it's at work or maybe at home, that it's hard for us to apologize because we feel so bad about the mistake that we made. But it's still important for us to be able to articulate our mistake and our remorse for the mistake and what we're going to do to fix it. Okay, now the last one, number 10, simply not knowing how. I know that I need to apologize, but I don't know how to apologize. I mean, I'm trying to think of, what could I say? And sometimes we, might say, well, I'm, my favorite backhanded apology is, I'm sorry I made you feel that way. Come on, really? Look, if you've done something that hurt somebody, how hard is it to say, I'm sorry, I didn't realize that what I had to say was going to impact you that way. Let's talk about it in more detail because I really want to make this right with you. Now, let's talk about the formula. Number 1, it's important for us to apologize as soon as possible. As closest to the event where you were either told, perceived, or realized that you made a mistake, you need to make sure that you make an apology to the individual or group with whom you've made this mistake that's impacted them the most. Don't say, well, I'll do it tomorrow, or, because the reality is that's a back door to not apologizing at all. So it's very important. However, if you're prepared and you have the skills to be able to deliver that apology, makes it so much easier. So, in addition to making it as soon as possible, the immediacy, it's also important that you make it equitable. Meaning, look, if I'm in the grocery store, like I said on Monday, and I walk in front of somebody accidentally and I turn, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't see you. That's fine. That's equitable. I didn't cause them damage. It was a momentary thing where my mind was somewhere else. And it brought me back into being in the moment and apologizing. The same is true, though, however, when we make a very serious mistake. We have to show that we take it serious. And when it's in a relationship that really matters to us, it is serious. So, how do we go about handling that? Acknowledge it accurately and take ownership of it. State specifically what the mistake was. Don't try to create rationale that would make it okay, but be honest about how it came about for you. That can be tough when you can say, you know, I I know I should have done that. I don't know why I didn't, but I didn't. And I take responsibility for that. So make sure that you include what you did or said that caused the problem, or what you didn't say, or what you didn't do that you need to apologize for. It's very important. So we've got immediacy. Apologize as soon as possible. The second is to own up to it, to state specifically what you did or didn't do, what you said or failed to say that may have created the issue that you feel responsible for, and make state it, put it out there so that they know that you understand where the mistake was made. Show remorse and empathize with the impact that it had on the other individual or the team. And then finally, right the wrong. Go the extra mile. If you need to, ask, what can I do to make this right? Or if you already have in mind what you can do it. Commit to it, follow through, and then maybe add a little something extra. The other day, I made a mistake. I went to the individual and said, I'm really sorry. This is what happened. And I know it had an impact on you. And I just wanted you to know that I feel terrible about that. And so I brought you your favorite latte. Now, it wasn't anything huge, but to show the fact that I realized that it was a mistake that I made and that I acknowledged it, I apologized, I showed remorse, and I went one extra and said, feel so bad that I, went to your favorite coffee shop, got your favorite drink, and I want to give it to you so that you know that I'm being sincere. Little things like that don't detract from the apology. They show how sincere and genuine you are about being sorry. You went a little extra further than what was necessary, but you did so because you care about the relationship. Look, if you're challenged with making apologies, you're not a bad person. A large population of people have challenges when it comes to apologizing to an individual or to their team. All this means is that you're human. But what makes you a leader is having the courage to own it, apologize, show remorse and empathy, and then go the extra mile to show that you meant it. I hope that helps. I hope the next time that you, probably not on purpose, make a mistake, but you know it impacts another person, that you take the time to let them know that you're sorry that you want to do better in the future, and that you want your relationship to be on a better level. I hope that helps. And that is after the coffee for this week. I hope you have an enjoyable weekend, and I look forward to seeing you on Monday Morning Cup of Joe. But in the meantime, as always, lead well, my friend.